Hello everyone, this is the North America Math Contest Go Go Go. It is 11 days prior to COMC exam, so that reviewing turns into a very important case. Today I'm going to talk about how to prepare during the last days of the prior to the exam. It is very important. So I'm going to talk about like different sections and what to remember like while you are on the contest. So I'm going to talk about a disclaimer that I am not an expert in it. I haven't even get into CMOQ. I'm almost close. Okay, never mind. So I'm going to divide into several sections: geometric, equations, and so on. So first, let's talk about all geometric areas. By the way, if anyone's curious about the music, where the music is, just search this. On YouTube. Now let's get started. First, geometric, I think, first thing, add lines to make the geometry graph solvable. What does it mean to add a line and make if you add a line to a geometry that, and you might find that there is a similar triangle or something that you can solve. So I remember that there is a problem, this, and we are required to find this. To solve it, you add a triangle, equilateral triangle, and now it will be easier to solve. This is an example of how it is used. Second is a similar triangle or congruent triangle. What is similar triangle? You should know what it is. And some of the basic geometric identity. This is just like literally nothing. Like this adds up to 360. This adds up to 180. That A plus B is smaller than C for triangle. And how to calculate each angle of a polygon. Second, now it is very important, law of sines and law of cosine. Sorry. This is law of sine. What is law of cosine? Law of cosine is this. This is law of cosine. They are used often in some problems. Specific values of sine, cosine, and tangent, or even stacks, DSC or cot. Because it's usually used common in some ways, like when you calculate the law of sine and law of cosine. I'm going to list out all possible of them. Okay, so here are the sine, cosine, and tangent basic values. Now let's talk about Pythagorean theorem. Everyone knows Pythagorean theorem, so we just pass. Sine, cosine, tangent equation, here are the three equations that are most commonly used. Second, double angle. Second is sine A plus B is equal to sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B. Okay. Now let's talk about some problems like this. Sine, cosine trigonometry equations. This is not tested often. It is usually in Euclid. COMC doesn't really want to give this type of problem because based on COMC's website, it is good for students in grade 8 to 12 and have not expected to have any knowledge of calculus. So don't expect these problems, and same to logarithm. Actually, this logarithm problem only appear once in the 20 years COMC. I forgot which year, 2005, it should be, yes. Second is equations. Here are some so it is usually for equations you need to understand quadratic and cubic. I mean that here are some equations that you have to understand. First is Vieta's formula. Second is Newton's formula. And the third is about extreme mass. It is a calculus thing. Why do we need it? Because it will be easier for you to solve some of the problem. To use this, you need to know derivatives. To know derivatives, you need to know limits. So this means if you want to understand this, you have to learn the first 4 chapters of calculus. And standard quadratic equation is a times x minus h squared plus k. It is also very important. And linear equation, please be extremely familiar with it. Because usually in the COMC you will get problems like parallel lines and perpendicular lines. That is very important. Arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence. I think they are also very important because arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence are usually happen in the test. Finally is the quadratic. Please be pretty familiar with it. Other things. First is factorization. Remember the factorization for 2020 is 5 times 4 times 101, 2 squared. Chinese remainder theorem. Please see my previous video for more reference. Factorials, it is a problem that usually happens in COMC. Finally, there are some common use equations. Remember this. Remember Cauchy's inequality and AMGM inequality. I forget what it is. It should be this. This is AMGM inequality, and this is equals to this. And this is equals to this. And remember this and this. And finally, don't forget the binomial expansion. So, these are all knowledges that you need. Now we are talking about what you should do prior to on the day of exam. So usually you should know that 5 minutes prior to the exam, now we are going to talk about what you should bring like on the day of exam. After we have what you should prepare more. You should do some like COMC past problems. Remember, don't do problems before 2011 because they are useless. Do problem after 2011. And remember to do some like problem of the week. And I suggest that if you want to do more problems, do this. Do this. AMC 10, do the problem of AMC 10 or AME because they are very close to the difficulty of, their difficulty is very close to the COMC. Do AMC 10 or AME. Okay. So now I'm going to show you about what to do.